Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Maybe changing.
Happy day after Mother's Day. I hope you had a phenomenal Mother's Day. I want to wish everybody out there birther day. Did you get through the Mother's Day okay? Was there any chaos and craziness? I had no chaos and craziness, except for the fact that I went somewhere and I didn't have a mask. I went inside to the place where I was going to go. There's no mask mandate anymore in this store. And yet some of the looks people gave me were tremendous. Some of the looks people, the whispering underneath the, what the hell is wrong with you people? Get over it. Either get the damn vaccine or don't. Live your life. This fear of insanity must stop. New York doctor Mark Siegel wrote a opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal talking about mask, the mandate. It's over.
And I wrote in the Wall Street Journal that it's time for mask mandates to go across the country and that the president should be saying that because basically you're actually being punitive to people who have had the vaccine and may not actually need masks. Now, you look at Utah, less than 350 new COVID cases yesterday and 0 deaths, an unbelievable drop in cases. So what are they talking about mandating that children wear masks in schools still when children are not getting sick from this usually?
But wait, no, that's not right, because people do get sick. And yes, of course. But enough is enough. It really is. I think we're all over it. The mask side of it, it's time. Either you've got it as far as the vaccine, or you're not going to get it. And by the way, the people who aren't going to get the vaccine that we all want to protect, right? Like, oh, God, we got to protect these people. It's the most important thing. Got to protect these people. Got to do it. Got to protect these people. It's time to protect these people. They're fine with you now. They don't want to wear a mask anyways. They don't want to wear a mask at all. They're okay with it. Shouldn't we be?
I think that we're at a time when we're back to personal choice and personal responsibility, and you want to feel that we're moving in the direction of we're heading towards the end of the pandemic, which I think we are. The numbers are dropping. So if we use a restrictive, punitive approach, that's going to turn people off, and people might say, I'm not going to follow this guy. I'm not going to listen to him. Because, by the way, he wears a mask in one place and then in another place doesn't. So I think you need a consistency, and we need a sense of liberation.
It's just time to get on with getting on. And by the way, if somebody's not wearing a mask, here's what you do. You don't have to stand next to them, right? You don't. You can choose to be somewhere else. You can wear a mask forever if you want. I don't care. Nobody else does either. I think at this point in time, we need to say to ourselves, personal responsibility now. Will mask help? Do they really help at this point in time? Mask may help, but not the mask we wear. Hell, the mask I wear is just gnarly. I've got one here that is, I don't even know what it's made of. It feels like a little polyester. That ain't stopping anything, right? That was in my golf bag for weeks. I don't have the N95. I have the KN95. I don't know what that does. Makes everybody feel, ooh, he's got a big white one. That one, hey, looks, it's enough. Enough of the charade, as I continue to say. It's time for us to start getting on. I think most of us realize that it is time. We got a couple things going on right now. First of all, the insanity of some of these rules, they must stop. And then the economy. You go and look at the economy right now. The economy, we expected 266,000 jobs we expected 1 million jobs. We got 266,000. What have we done? Well, first and foremost, we're telling people, hey, don't worry. Don't you worry about it. We got your back. We got your back. Getting your back for a while is okay. Getting your back to the point where it's now become a back rub and a massage because you feel like you don't have to go out and get a gig is ridiculous.
We've been so generous with our plus-ups to unemployment insurance and the checks that we've been sending everybody that a great many Kentuckians and Americans look at the situation and find they're better off financially to stay home rather than go back to work. So we have inflationary issues and we have difficulty in getting people to do the work to meet the new demand.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Period. Case closed. Now, you're going to get the left say, oh, settle down.
The Commerce Secretary rejected some Republicans' contention that people are reluctant to return to work because they are receiving unemployment insurance.
The number one reason now that people aren't going back to work, fear, or they can't find child care or schools are still closed. So we'll monitor it as necessary, but right now we don't think that's the reason people aren't able to go back to work.
Of course not. You guys can't agree on anything. Look, some of that's true. There are people out there that are scared. Okay. Child care? That could be an issue in some places, not every place. But you can't for a second say to yourself, maybe there's something over here that the Republicans are saying that are right. No, of course not. You're already talking about another stimulus. You're already talking about extending these things. My goodness me. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. So we have now built up a situation where the fear factor has gotten to the point where it's gripping some people to the point of just, wear a mask 24/7, even indoors. I still see it. Driving down the street, look over, somebody's wearing a mask in their car. Who's in the car? Nobody but them. Who are you protecting? All the time. That article in Atlantic, I'm telling you guys, you have a chance, go read it. It is very interesting, talking about how a group of people on the left, in particular, this is the Atlantic, not known to be very right-wing, even middle of the road, saying that the progressives and the liberals, in a lot of way, have panicked themselves into almost needing this. And it's nuts. It is. It's crazy. Man, everywhere I go is help wanted signs, help wanted signs, help. Well, why can't you get work? I don't know. Can't even get people to show up for a damn interview. What's that say? It says people don't want to work. And I get it. If you're making a business decision, you're sitting around going, I'm making more money sitting at home. Why would I do anything else? Honestly. And I got friends who are telling me, man, I can't get anybody to work. I just can't get anybody to work at all. And I've got other friends who are like, hey, why would anybody want to go back to work? I totally agree with them if you're going to make more money. And people who struggle with childcare, that's a very real thing. But it's so funny how they could both see the opposite, not think, well, yeah, you know what? There are some people out there that are scared. There are some people out there that are going to have trouble finding childcare, or maybe even nervous to put their kids back into childcare at this moment in time, even though they've been vaccinated. Because the whole thought process, they've been vaccinated, maybe they've even had it. Their children are young enough to go in childcare, and we know that the chances of them spreading it, based on pretty much most studies from age 0 to 10, is slim to none. It's nuts. It's crazy. And this is where we are. And I don't see it changing anytime in the near future, because I don't think right now either side, in particular the left, wants to let this thing go. They're going to continue to push it. They're going to continue to move it forward because the narrative fits them. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. It landed.
This 22-ton hunk of metal the size of a 10-story building, the weight of 1/5 of the Statue of Liberty, supposedly China says went down just near the Maldives, which are southwest of India and Sri Lanka in the Indian Ocean. Space agencies like to go down in the Indian Ocean, but they go a lot farther south to areas far away from shipping lanes and people. This was way too close for comfort.
Yeah. And it was just, it's amazing. Like the Chinese just didn't care. They just don't, they're like, you know what? Whatever. We're doing whatever we're doing.
There were densely populated areas in the possible impact zone, including at one point New York, other cities in the United States, and then all the way down to Australia and New Zealand. So in the end, even though it did go down in the ocean, which China said they were confident it would, that's only because they were playing a game of the odds. More than 70% of the Earth is ocean, and a lot of the land that this would have passed over is not densely populated. But had things turned out differently, we could be having a very different conversation this morning.
Could you imagine that? If it landed in an area where it caused massive damage? And the Chinese, I'm sure, would say, well, that was your fault for being there. Because they acknowledge none of the bad they do, right? They just, Chad, that you're making a racism right there. No, I'm not, being honest. Chinese government does not care. I mean, over the weekend, they're talking about basically how they're going to just choke off and destroy Australia because Australia just doesn't take any of the crap from them. They're over the whole thing, 110%. They're looking to the expansion of the Chinese military throughout the oceans. They're looking at a lot of these different things, and who's going to be there to say, all right, we've had enough? Is it Biden? I don't know. Is the World Trade Organization going to do it? Doubtful. Is it business here in America who enjoys the green? Probably not. And they got this damn thing falling. No idea where it's going.
Hours before this apparent splashdown near the Maldives, we had no idea where this debris would fall. When you could see how the object was really spinning as it violently shot across the Earth in multiple orbits, 18,000 miles an hour. That's why it was so difficult to actually pinpoint where the final reentry would take place.
Yeah. And they didn't care. They didn't. It's just, like you say, they're playing the odds. We stopped doing this along with everybody else who has any kind of sophisticated systems a long time ago, saying, all right, we can't play crapshoot because eventually this is going to land somewhere. This is not something we should be doing. Doesn't matter. But it didn't hurt anybody. Could you imagine trying to sue China? China! If it would have landed on your house and killed your family or friends or maybe killed you and your family's trying to sue? Probably not going to happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. Master class. Lots of classes. All kinds of classes. With the craziest, wacky, amazing, incredible way to learn. From all over the place. We're talking about an eclectic group of the masters in their field. From Tony Hawk to Annie Leibovitz. From Serena Williams to Shonda Rhimes. To Steve Martin to David Axelrod. And many others. If you want to learn everything from history to comedy, if you want to take your hobby to the next level, you want to figure out, hey, do I want to learn and maybe I'll do something with this? These are the masters in what they do. Each class is broken into individual lessons. So each lesson's about 10 minutes per lesson. You get about 20 lessons per class. You can go at your own pace. You can watch it anywhere, smart TV, tablet, computer, your phone. It's awesome. Downloadable materials. Over 100 classes from a range of the best instructors in the world who really aren't instructors. They're the masters of the art form that they do. So check this out. It's about 41 cents a day. Right now, unlimited master class for you, just for my listeners. Get 50% off your first year annual membership. Again, 41 cents a day to learn from the best. Go to masterclass.com/Benson, masterclass.com/Benson, masterclass.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
I'm actually making history tonight as the first person with Asperger's to host SNL. Or at least the first to admit it. So I won't make a lot of eye contact with the cast tonight. But don't worry, I'm pretty good at running human in emulation mode.
Yeah, Elon over the weekend. By the way, everybody survived. He did his Saturday Night Live. I know there's a lot of people worried for whatever reason they don't like him. But he survived. So did everybody else. It's a big thing, right? People were upset in the cast. Oh, my God. I don't know how people work with each other anymore. People are worried about, like, what did Elon do? What did he? Oh, is he not woke as you? Is that what it is? He's not woke. So because he's not woke, you're uncomfortable with him. So you feel the best thing to do is to cry and not hang out with him. Nice.
The oxygen is dropping fast.
There's a backup O2 circulator outside the habitat. One of them just needs to turn it on.
The radiation levels outside are too high. It would be a suicide mission.
Sir, one of the colonists has volunteered. He's on Vox now.
So there are still heroes in this world. Hello, who am I speaking to?
Chad.
Chad? This is Elon Musk. Who? Elon Musk. I'm in charge of the whole Mars colonization project.
Oh, congrats.
Chad, I want to make sure you understand that you won't survive this mission.
Okay.
To save your fellow colonists, you'll have to make the ultimate sacrifice.
Sack.
Yeah. Speaking of Elon, the name, Werner von Braun, if you guys don't know that name, he was essentially, he was the Nazis' lead scientist. The Nazis' lead scientist, like the Nazis' lead scientist. And then when Berlin was falling and everybody knew it was over, the race was on between us and the Russians to get to their scientist. Not so we could kill them, so we could grab them, give them the opportunity to come over, spill the beans, and bring all their technology. Werner von Braun was the one that everybody wanted, and we got him. And because of him, we went to the moon. He also wrote a book. And in his book, he talked about the colonization of Mars. And he said, and this was 70 years ago, it will be led by a man named Elon. Ooh. Now, he also talked about Dogecoin, old Elon.
What are cryptocurrency?
They're a type of digital money, but instead of being controlled by a central government, they're decentralized using blockchain technology.
What is Dogecoin?
Well, it actually started as a joke based on an internet meme.
Okay, but what is Dogecoin?
Well, it was created in 2013 and has a circulating supply of 117 billion coins.
So what is Dogecoin?
It's the future of currency. It's an unstoppable financial vehicle that's going to take over the world.
What is it, man?
I keep telling you, it's a cryptocurrency you can trade for conventional money.
Oh, so it's a hustle.
Yeah, it's a hustle.
Yeah. Dogecoin dropped, but then has rebounded a little bit. He's going to have something today. He did actually a fairly good job, all things considered. You know, based on the cast they have right now, you couldn't tell which one was the cast member and which one wasn't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Should the horse be called Lance Armstrong? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In a post-race drug test, 3-year-old Medina Spirit was flagged for having 21 picograms of the steroid betamethasone in his system.
It's like a grain of salt in an Olympic-sized pool,
says trainer Bob Baffert. Despite the tiny amount of the drug, Medina Spirit may be stripped of his Kentucky Derby win, and Baffert could be suspended from the sport. It all depends upon the results of further testing on the horse's samples.
Yeah. Cheater! Tiny, itty-bitty, itty-bitty, tiny amount.
We're talking picograms. And a picogram is like a grain of salt in an Olympic-sized pool. And that's what we're talking about. So that had no effect, but it's enough to have a red flag.
Yeah, Bob Baffert there, arguably the greatest trainer of all time, could be looking at a suspension for who knows how long. But what's this do for the Kentucky Derby? Well, if they uphold this, he's disqualified, Medina Spirit, meaning the second place winner, is it Madaloon, will be the winner. Everybody bumps up, and then like you said, producer Phil, what happens here with all of the dollars? Well, I guess you got to go back and get your dollar bills, yo, if you bet for Madaloon. And then the other question is, what if you won and you bet Medina? You're not coming back and giving that money back. Oh, man. This is crazy. It is. We've got cheating going on. Hello, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Welcome to the world of sports. That's not very nice. It's just the reality of this. I mean, we go back to, Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong didn't do anything that anybody else wasn't doing. The difference is he did it better. All things being equal, he would have won. All things being unequal, he probably would have lost. He did more for cancer than the amount of money he raised. It wasn't the fact that he did some of the things that he did. It was the way in which he tried to protect his image that cost him more than anything else. Because he was such a Richard. He destroyed people's lives. I don't think this horse is going to do this. Bob Baffert promises to be, and Medina Spirit is going to race this weekend in the Preakness. It is interesting, though, that we have a potential issue here. Cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater. How dare they do that? I know, right? A picogram. I never even heard of a picogram. Pico de Gallo I've heard of, and I don't think that was the problem with this. Could have called the horse Jose Canseco. Could have called it Lance Armstrong. Could have called it Ben Johnson. Going back, date myself. 88 Olympics, if you've never seen it. He was the rival. He was a Canadian rival of Carl Lewis. And if you watch him in the 88 Olympics running and beating Carl in the 100-meter and looking at him crossing the finish line, he looked like he was shot out of a cannon, and he looked crazed. In fact, he was so fast that he slowed up the final 10 yards because he was so far ahead of everybody else. And needless to say, afterwards, he tested positive for a whole bunch of things. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I mean, if horse racing isn't going to be above board, what can be above board in today's world, right?
Maybe changing those mandates for indoor masks. You think they should be lifted, do you?
Well, look, COVID won't disappear. We're going to have to learn to live with it. But the risk is substantially reduced as a result of vaccination, as a result of immunity that people have acquired through prior infection. And so I think we're at the point in time when we could start lifting these ordinances in a wholesale fashion. And people have to take precautions based on their individual risk. They have to judge their own individual risk and decide whether or not they're going to avoid crowds or wear masks based on their circumstances.
Yeah. Right? Isn't that's called personal responsibility. Based on my circumstances, do I worry? No, this weekend I had dedication I went to. So with this dedication, I didn't wear a mask. It's my church. I haven't been there in a year and a half. I've had it. I've had both vaccines. By both vaccines, I've had both shots of Moderna because I only do the best. I don't. Everybody's like, do you want? I'm like, no. What do you have? Top shelf. What's your top shelf? What's the one that's like, wait, oh, that's it? Oh, I'll take that. And so I've had both of those, and it's been two weeks today since I've had my second shot. I felt more than fine going. I felt fine going before because I'd already had it, but I didn't feel it. Nobody wore a mask in there. A few people did, some older people. But like everything else, I was talking to an older lady, Grandma Jo. She's, I asked her, did you worry about any of this stuff? She goes, there were times when I was very cautious, and then there were other times when I knew, okay, I'm around these people. These are the kind of the group that I'm bunkered with, if you will. So, wearing a mask today or not wearing a mask today doesn't really matter because at some point in time there's going to be some sort of exposure if there is to be. I think it's about personal responsibility. And I think at the height of this, I understood why we were overly masked and overly cautious. We didn't realize. We thought we were going to be India, and we didn't become India. And by the way, if you're not seeing what's going on in India, they predict 1 million dead by August. It is ugly over there. It's a very interesting country. Some of the places in India are gorgeous, but there is a massive amount of poverty. There's a massive amount of unhealthy people and very little health care outside of the ruling class. It's very much a caste system. We were never going to get there. We didn't. I saw some thing that said we really lost 1 million people. I'm like, shut up. It's the dumbest thing we did not lose 1 million people to COVID. That's just insane, some of this stuff. And I think we overdid the number, if anything else. Right? Remember, dying with COVID or dying from COVID, two separate things. But at some point in time, as Dr. Scott Gottlieb said right there, it's personal responsibility, and it's getting back to the normal ways of the day-to-day world and allowing you to make the choices for yourself. It's what it should be as opposed to what, and it's what it should have been, as opposed to what it became, which was a political issue over crap.
So we're at the point right now we could start lifting these ordinances and allowing people to resume normal activity. Certainly outdoors, we shouldn't be putting limits on gatherings anymore. We should be encouraging people to go outside. And in the states where prevalence is low, vaccination rates are high, and we have good testing in place, so we're identifying infections, I think we could start lifting these restrictions indoors as well on a broad basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Indoors is okay. Once again, you are making the decision for you, personally, your family. If you've got the vaccine, this insanity, like last week we were going over those insane guidelines for if you're sending your kid to camp. They can only be in groups of like 4 or 8, and they've got to wear their mask at all time. And if they're outside playing soccer, they've got to wear them. I mean, some of that stuff is just nuts. It is just ridiculous. That's not camp. That's punishment. That's not camp. That's not fun. Let's go make some new friends and have a summer that we'll remember forever. That's not that. That's one of those things where it's like, hey, would you rather get your tooth pulled or go do this for 6 weeks? Yeah, I'll take my tooth pulled.
And that's probably partly what's holding back the economy right now. People are not going back to work, not just because of the benefits. I know there's been a lot of talk about that, but also because they're being told they have to wear masks and still have to exercise cautions that probably in many parts of this country you don't have to do. You look at San Francisco, 20 cases a day, more than 70% of the population vaccinated, very good testing in place. They don't need mask ordinances indoors anymore, and certainly not outside.
Yeah. Nope. But given the opportunity, people will hold on for as long as they possibly can to masking and double masking and triple masking. If somebody says, hey, you should do this, and we know who that somebody is, Mr. Fauci.
People have gotten used to the fact that wearing masks diminishes respiratory diseases. We've had practically a non-existent flu season this year merely because people were doing the kinds of public health things that were directed predominantly against COVID-19. So it is conceivable that as we go on a year or two or more from now, that during certain seasonal periods, when you have respiratory-borne viruses like the flu, people might actually elect to wear masks to diminish the likelihood that you'll spread these respiratory-borne diseases.
No, the big reason is we didn't do anything. Kids weren't in school. Who's the big spreader of the flu? Kids. Who wasn't in school? Kids. Where were they? They were at home. They didn't hang out. They didn't see each other. They didn't do any of the things that you would normally do as a child. Go to school, play sports, go on dates, be amongst each other. You know what happens? You could stop all spreading of everything if you just want everybody to stay indoors all the time. And super, super social distance. It's nuts, of course. Did you know that, Chad? Did you know that? Did you know? No, that wasn't what it was. What it was is the opportunity for kids to be at home with their parents, with their parent. Sometimes mom and dad's at work. They're home by themselves. They're not really interacting with people. Guess what happens then? You have a huge opportunity to see a decline in many things that would spread normally through human contact if you have no human contact. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. I found this interesting over the weekend with old Bill Gates here and Melinda Gates and something that happened a few years ago where she had kind of said, I'm done with this.
According to the Wall Street Journal, Melinda Gates began meeting with divorce attorneys in 2019, 2 years before filing for divorce. One source of concern, according to the report, was Bill's dealings with Epstein. In 2019, the New York Times reported Bill Gates had met with Epstein on numerous occasions, beginning in 2011, at least once staying at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse until late into the night. When pressed about his relationship with Epstein during a 2019 interview with the Wall Street Journal, Gates said, I met him. I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with him.
Yeah, but you kept seeing him. And in fact, your wife said you guys went over there one night for dinner. You felt uncomfortable the entire time. She did. She didn't want any part of what was going on. And you continued to hang out. That's weird. Somebody hide. Was it Ghislaine Maxwell? Somebody better get to her. Better get to her. If she slips in the shower with her clothes on, yeah, that happens sometimes. The amount of stuff that she knows is, do you think there's a microfilm somewhere of all of it? Do you think there is? Do you think there's somewhere that somebody's got something where if something was to happen to her, somebody comes out and just releases stuff, a la WikiLeaks style? Kind of holding on just to see. She's like, I'm going to play this hand here if you guys screw with me. So we'll go to court and we'll see what takes place. We'll see who may or may not pop up in some of these things. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Rough Greens. My dog Doodle's crazy. That's the only way I can describe him. Nuts. Absolutely. Running around the house, chasing rabbits. Came home the other day, opened the door. He comes flying past me, and he starts chasing a rabbit. Now, the rabbit is laughing at him, right? Because, first of all, my dog Doodle doesn't see very well. Secondly, he never has a chance. That is unthinkable a year and a half ago. Rough Greens, K9 VitaSmart. Started giving it to him. It's a supplement. Put it right on top of your dog's food, and it brings your dog's food to life. It's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables. It's got omega-3, 6, 9, probiotics, all of these amazing things. And not only has it helped him with his arthritic hips and his joint pain, it's also made him healthier, and his coat is shinier than it's ever been. Rough Greens wants you to try it before you buy it. You pay for the shipping. They're going to ship you a bag for free. You go to roughgreens.com, ruffgreens.com/Chad. And you're going to get a bag for free. You pay for the shipping. It's that simple. Roughgreens.com/Chad. Call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
Revenge tops the box office.
You ready? Ready.
The Jason Statham action thriller Wrath of Man debuts in first place, taking in $8.1 million. Directed by Guy Ritchie, Wrath of Man marks Statham and Ritchie's first team-up. In second, the blockbuster Japanese anime Demon Slayer the movie took in another $3 million on its way to almost $500 million worldwide. Mortal Kombat finished third. Rounding out the top five, it's Godzilla vs. Kong, which is close to $100 million domestically, and Raya and the Last Dragon in fifth.
Yeah, I didn't see any movies. I will see Wrath of Man, probably, maybe this week. I saw Nobody this weekend. If you guys don't know what Nobody is, it's a Bob Odenkirk movie. Very interesting. So it's about a dude who's essentially going through the motions of life, right? Connie Nielsen's his wife, right? They sleep in a bed and she puts the pillows between the two. He works for his father-in-law and at a manufacturing company, and he just is kind of he gets robbed, like a home invasion, and his son comes to help, and he's got one of the guys in a headlock, and he could take the other one out, this lady, and he decides not to do it, and everybody thinks he's a wuss and a wimp, and he's anything but. He's actually a cold stone killer. He's the last human being on Earth that you'd want to see, because if he's coming, you will be the last. And it was awesome. It was funny. The soundtrack was amazing. It's got twists and turns, and it did so well, considering the budget and the fact that it's going to make about $70 million domestically on a small budget at a time when the movie theaters were closed. They're already talking about, well, they knew they were going to do number two, but a little bit of a crossover potentially for John Wick. And they've talked about it because the same companies and writers that work together, even though the producers are different, have a relationship, and they've talked about it. And I'm like, I would totally see that. I'll see the next one, too. I can't believe I waited this long. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so, flowers.
Of all days and of all people to get a DUI, a flower delivery guy on Mother's Day. It happened in Fairfield, California Sunday, police responding to a crash and arresting a driver who had a bunch of bouquets to be delivered. So what did the officers do? Yep, they delivered all the flowers themselves, tweeting they hoped to get the flowers to their destinations on time and wished everyone a happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, that's solid. That is a solid thing right there. And now you got Mom, I sent you the flowers. The guy got drunk. He got arrested. What was I going to do? I apologize. I tried. I did. I set it up. I had everything ready. They were coming right there. They were going to deliver it to you. It's going to be great. Everybody's like, oh, you're the best. No, sorry. Sorry, didn't do it. Just couldn't. This guy got drunk. He was tired. He was exhausted. He's over it. Doesn't want to deal with these people. Totally understand that. Totally do. But still, of all the days to drink and drive, none should be it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Check us out across all the social medias. Something's going on with Facebook right now and throughout the day. It's had some issues. All of them have had issues over the last couple of weeks in some weird way or another. And so, right now, it's so funny to see. Starbucks says they're considering leaving Facebook over hate and intolerance. Have fun finding a place where you can go called Utopia, where there is no other side of anything, and there is no hate or intolerance. Your best bet at this point in time is to not be on social media, which maybe mental health-wise could be better for everybody. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter and your Instagram, Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
At this point, anybody that trusts you, trusts the government, trusts us in the media, has gotten a vaccine. It's safe to assume those that haven't have some trust issues. Maybe it's trust with the medical community, maybe it's trust with government, maybe it's trust with us in the media. What kind of strategies do you think are necessary to get us up to that 80-85%? I mean, we're seeing financial coercion. Is that the way to go? Are mandates the way to go? What is the strategy going forward?
That right there is Chuck Todd talking to Fauci. People don't trust the media. Go look at the favorability of the media. It's about the same of what Congress is, right? Like Trump's worst numbers were like double, triple what Congress gets. The media, nobody trusts any of the media. People don't trust talk radio? No. Some people don't trust me. They think you're on the radio, you're not telling the truth. Other people listen and go, look, you tell both sides, and I don't always agree with you, but at least you give a fair shake. But the establishment side of things, right, where you would go and see the New York Times, the LA Times, the ABC, NBC, CBS kind of, are those? No, nobody trusts the media. They always think everybody's got something going on. Nowadays, especially, and on the other side of stuff, nobody trusts the government. Well, some do, and they want government to be everything. But a lot of people don't trust the government that they're going to do the things they say they're going to do and that they're going to actually be competent enough to pull some of these things off. And government, as we all know, loves a good story that they can tell that will scare you, terrify you, make you uncomfortable, anything that they can do to take something, make it last a little bit longer, profit off it for themselves as far as the power that they want to continue to hold. The reality is people are going to come to this, the ones who haven't. There's 20% of people that are never going to take this vaccine. 20% of people that just aren't going to get it. And the ones that will eventually go, oh yeah, I think I'm going to get that. It'll be experiential, meaning something has happened. Their mother got it. Their brother got it. Their dad got it. Whatever. And they got really sick and died. Or their mother, brother, uncle, nephew, kids, whatever, husband, wife, they got it and nothing's happened to them. Bill Gates isn't making you go farm for him. There's no tails growing. Lizard people aren't controlling you. The government hasn't put a chip in you. if you're trying to get people to trust you, if they don't trust you now, they're probably not going to trust you at all. Tomorrow, the next day, the next, you get it.
You've got to get trusted messengers out there, getting people to understand why it's important to get vaccinated for themselves, their family, and the community. Different types of people in different phases in life have different trusted messengers. It could be sports figures. It could be entertainment figures. It could be clergy, or it could be your family doctor. Trusted messengers.
The family doctor, yes. The clergy, they've already seen a pushback, especially for people on the right, where you've had churches say, get this thing. And then you've got the other side of stuff. Like, if you're going to go, I don't think I'm going to get this. You're like, but The Rock got it, so maybe I will. Like, don't. I've always said that. It's like, if somebody has to tell you you need to go vote, and you're like, I don't think I was going to, but then Taylor Swift's like, you should go vote. And I'm like, well, if she's doing it. No, that's silly. But the doctor, again, trusted people and individuals who are going to go out there and be able to say, hey, man, I got this thing. You're going to be fine. Right? You're going to be cool. Don't worry about it. But there are a group of people out there that no matter what happens, they're going to look at you and think, right, you're an idiot. You watch what happens. Something's going to happen. You're going to grow a tail. Eventually, Manchurian Candidate. They're going to say some words on TV, and you're going to be like, I've been activated. But if you're looking for trust from the media, and if you're looking for trust from government, not going to happen. Not. And the reason's simple. The government's flip-flopped. CDC is flip-flopped. The media hasn't been right. The media has played their hand on this. One side played it down to like, this is just like having a scraped knee. And the other side played it up like this is the Ebola virus meets the Spanish flu. And it can't be stopped. And so people aren't trusting. The average person is just like, I don't buy any of what you guys are selling me. Not right now. Then you had the mask, right? The mask kerfuffle, which has just been a giant pain in everybody's ass. It became political. We're fighting over a mask. One side tells you, masks are stupid. Don't do anything. The other side tells you it's the only thing in the world that will protect you. And you're like, find out. Everybody settle down. It's a mask, and yes, masks will protect. Not the mask we're wearing. Not the mask you buy at the store. Right? 3 for $10. Wow, they got ninjas on them. I got some of those. Do I think those things are going to protect me from anything? No. You know what it protects me from? People not bitching, whining, and moaning. They're going, underneath their breath. This weekend I went into a store, thought I had a mask in my pocket. I didn't. I left it in my golf bag. But it didn't say mask mandate. I went in. And you could see the people with their judgmental looks over, you're not wearing a mask. No. But I've been vaccinated twice. And I've had it. You are wearing a mask, and chances are because you've probably been vaccinated too. So the chances of you and I being in the same space for a matter of mere moments of you getting it are slim to none. That's what's happening. People are done with it. Want to get on with their lives. I couldn't agree more. It's time to do it.
By being overly cautious, the signal is going out to the public that there isn't necessarily a light at the end of the tunnel. Do you understand why people are...
I think everyone is tired, and wearing a mask can be a pain. But we're getting there, and the light at the end of the tunnel is brighter and brighter. Let's keep up our guard. Let's follow the CDC guidance. And the CDC guidance across time will allow vaccinated people more and more privileges to take off that mask.
Sorry. First of all, they're not your privileges to snatch away from everybody. We were out of an abundance of caution and through not knowing exactly what was taking place. States, in particular, seized opportunities to try to protect everybody, and we got to the point where some states felt like they were trying to cure death. But there's more to it than meets the eye, and it is frustrating when you hear somebody like the czar, Jeffrey Zients there, the COVID czar, eventually. CDC has been wrong, has been all over the place, has just comes up with some of the most insane things like the whole thought process of going to summer camp and wearing your mask all the time, 24/7, and only being in small groups, and even if you're outside playing, and this is the stupid thing. I mean, you're outside playing, you're a kid, the chances of you getting sick and dying from this is slim to none. Probably have more chance of falling out of a tree while you're there and getting hurt and dying. And if you're an adult that's been vaccinated, you still have to wear a mask, even in a group? I mean, come on. My God. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Top of that, you still have the issue of the economy. Last month, not as hot as we thought, right? Like we thought it was going to be motoring up. But they were looking at 1 million jobs. 1 million jobs.
U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said that the economy has a long way to go before it fully recovers from a more than year-long global health crisis.
I think we have a long way to go to recover from the pandemic. There are so many Americans still struggling, 8 million fewer jobs than there were pre-pandemic. So we are working very hard. In fact, we had a meeting with the president on Friday, and that was his direction to us, which is we are making bold moves, but there's a long way to go, and we have to be there to help Americans find jobs.
The jobs are there. The jobs are there. Well, they're not the jobs that, maybe some people want. Well, the jobs are there. They're continually allowing people to not be uncomfortable, to continue to stay on the dole, if you will. It's very British right there, Chad. Is ridiculous. Enough. The jobs are out there. People need to start making a decision. Do you want to get a job, or do you want to see how long this is going to last? For some people, not all. There are some people out there that are scared. There are some people out there that will have issues with childcare. But there's also a large group of people that are going to play this thing out. And when they're hearing, oh, my God, did you hear that they may extend these things another 6 months, that there may be another check behind this? What do you think people are going to do? Is that an incentive to run out and get a gig? If you're doing okay? Probably not.
We've been so generous with our plus-ups to unemployment insurance and the checks that we've been sending everybody that a great many Kentuckians and Americans look at the situation and find they're better off financially to stay home rather than go back to work. So we have inflationary issues, and we have difficulty in getting people to do the work to meet the new demand.
Yeah. And by the way, the new demand, you see prices going through the roof. We're having issues with that. Consumer goods prices are through the roof. And they're going to continue to see things because the demand is such in many places, and either there just isn't enough product for it because they can't manufacture it, or there just isn't enough product for it because there just isn't enough product out there right now to meet the demand. Even if you can manufacture it all, there's just not enough. These are little things that go a long way, and you're feeling it, whether it's at the pump because we don't have enough drivers to get gas from point A to point B. And I'm not talking about you and I just driving a regular time. I'm talking about the actual long haulers who are taking the petrol from point A to point B. Or whether you look at something like lumber, where the increased amount of construction that's going on is causing lumber prices to go through the roof, which makes everything like homes a little bit more expensive. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. MyPillow has all kinds of goodies from... They got the slippers, right? We've talked about that. They got the My Slippers. They've also got towels. Got amazing towels, not lotioning. Normally, they're $110 for these towels. So you're spending $110 for towels that are awesome. But right now, $44.98. Several different colors to choose from. Super absorbent. Absolutely incredible. 60-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? You try them. If you don't like him, you send him back. No questions asked. Nobody's going to go, oh, why? No, just try him. I have MyPillow towels. I've got several different sets. Get the wash rags, the little ones. You get the big, giant ones. They're amazing. Get your towels now. Get 2 sets, $44.98. Save big. 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Look at all the great deep discounts from the slippers to the mattress topper and everything in between. Use that code Benson to save big. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Let's take a peek, find out what's trending for the last 24 hours. First, we start with Google Trends. Mother's Day, 10 million searches plus yesterday. Happy Mother's Day, 2 million plus. Medina Spirit, that is the horse that won the Kentucky Derby, that had a picogram of a substance they're not supposed to have, which is like what they say is like having 1 grain of salt inside of a pool. So they're going to do more in-depth research and investigation. May have lost the Kentucky Derby based on that. Mother's Day cards. People looking, where can I get Mother's Day cards? Where can I get Mother's Day cards? Where can I get Mother's Day? Where can I get Father's Day? I guess we got to figure out what we're going to do with Father, right? Like, got to do something with him. I just can't believe it. You know, it's Father's Day. Josh Whedon is trending and has been because apparently he threatened Gal Gadot's career. That's what she claims. Said he also didn't respect Wonder Woman. Settle down. Settle down. Settle down there. Head over to Twitter, where it's a lot more politically based, as we all know. California high schoolers, according to the LA Times, say, yeah, you know what? We don't feel like coming back. We'll just work out of the house. And we were talking about this earlier. And one of the reasons is because why would you? California's a bit more open. Why would you go out and want to go back to school? Right? Go sit there wearing a mask, having all these weird rules, not being able to hang out with your friends when you can go hang out with your friends now and go to school a few hours a day. So they're kicking the ball, if you will, down the road till next year. Republicans are auditing the election still here in Arizona, Maricopa County, 2.1 million. And some officials on both sides of the aisle, by the way, are raising concerns over the way that some of these things are being done. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. Some of it is, it's just bizarre. It gets weirder every single day. You sit there and you're like, what are you guys doing now? What? What is this? Wait, what? Yeah, it's some of it is just every time you turn around. And now the Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs, she has had to have protection. She's the one who oversees the election, put on her 24/7 because of death threats, because, craziness. Can't just get along. Speaking of voting, we're going to touch on voter ID. Very interesting thing that came out that is, it's Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. And let's just say who's black, talks about being black, talks about his family growing up, his mother in particular growing up in the Jim Crow South, but really kind of goes after some of the insanity when it comes to these new restrictions or voter security. Depends on what aisle you're sitting on. And I tell you what, some of his stuff is spot on. It is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from each and every single one of you. And don't go turkey hunting in Missouri. That's all you got to say. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Legislatures are doing. They're taking away that right to vote. In a democracy, when you lose an election, you're supposed to try to win over people from the other side to vote for you. In a dictatorship, when you lose an election, you take away people's right to vote, and we are not letting them create a dictatorship in America.
But didn't you guys just win? Yeah, but, they changed the rules. Well, some of the rules were changed because of COVID. They weren't meant to last forever, and so they're rolling some of those back. Some of them, they thought there was some funny business going on. And they've, is it voter integrity? Is it voter security? Is it voter restriction? Well, the whole ID thing, right? Like, that's the thing that makes me laugh. The ID. Can't get an ID. Can't get an ID. You ever ask the person of color, hey, can you get an ID? Yeah, I got an ID. Oh. Because they say you can't. They say they say you can't get an ID. Well, I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me why people can't get an ID. Like, what's a real reason why you can't get an ID? It's got to be something, right? It's got to be something. Can't be this, I just can't get down there. No, again, if you want to do something, you'll make it happen. If you want to. Bad enough. This is Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson from North Carolina. Let me tell you something. He's very interesting. He's a Republican. He happens to be black. I know, right? He is not happy about some of the BS that goes on and finds some of it just absurd.
I'm here to talk about voter discrimination and election integrity. Let me say that I am very proud of the history in this nation of my people. My people were put in the belly of ships, bound in chains, and endured the Middle Passage, whipped, beaten, and sold as property. During Reconstruction and throughout Jim Crow, black people were intimidated, harassed, and even killed to keep them from having a voice in government. Today, we hear Georgia law being compared to Jim Crow. The black voices are being silenced. How? By bullets? By nooses? No. By requiring a free ID to secure the vote.
Yeah. This isn't racial segregation. This isn't for use by whites only, cross on the other side of the streets. This isn't that kind of situation. Separate but equal, wink, 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 nudge, nudge. Separate but not really equal. But you guys get it, right? This isn't any of that. Sorry, you're insane if you think that. You're insane if you think that somehow this is what happens, though. Both sides do it. They compare something to something, the most absurd thing that's out there. And some people buy into it. A lot of people see through it, but they don't care to let their voice be heard, which needs to change. If you are, like for me, right? I see both sides of everything. I try to look at everything. So I've always been that way. Right? I've always wanted to study like what goes on over here, what goes on over here. And then there's lots of little gray area and nuances and subtleties that are put into things, so it makes it so it's not black and white. There's a lot of things. This is one of those things that's just completely ridiculous. This is not Jim Crow era of Reconstruction. This is not separate but equal, walk on the other side of the street, segregation BS. It's not. Well, they're not going to have as many voter, boxes as they did at the certain time. Well, that was kind of put in some places because of COVID. There's not. You start listening, and it's so absurd, some of the stuff that is thrown out there. Look, there's no doubt that some of the stuff I'm not a fan of. I think that you should be able to go down with your ID, register to vote. If you want to vote by mail, I got zero problems with it. Well, how do I know who it's going to? How do I know? And that's, again, there's ways we can come about and look at this thing 1,000. Maybe fingerprint. A lot of other countries, fingerprint. Right? You vote, put your fingerprint on there. Well, I don't want the government to have my fingerprint. There's always, somebody's going to come up with always something. But the voter ID thing has always perplexed me because it's so insane.
Let me say that again. By requiring a free ID to secure the vote. How absolutely preposterous. Am I to believe that black Americans who have overcome the atrocities of slavery could not figure out how to get a free ID to secure their votes? That they need to be coddled by politicians because they don't think we can figure out how to make our voices heard? Are you kidding me? The notion that black people must be protected from a free ID to secure their votes is not just insane, it is insulting.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me why you can't have an ID. Tell me. So you get a free ID. Tell me why you can't get an ID to vote. Tell me that. Let me know how you can't get an ID to vote. Tell me. And, the whole thought process is people were worried, well, all these states are going to get rid of, they're changing some of the laws, changing some of them back to where they were pre-pandemic. Some they're moving to secure. But as all of these things are going on, the thought process is, like Coca-Cola and everybody's like, well, can't have this kind of stuff. And places are moving their, Major League Baseball took the All-Star game away. Well, we're going to boycott your state. Well, you're running out of states to boycott. So you mean to tell me that you're going to give up Texas, Georgia, Florida? That's a large swath of people. No, they're not. At some point in time, you're going to be like, look, it's their state. They should do whatever the hell they want to do. Long as it's within the boundaries of allowing people to vote. But he makes a great point. And I find it insulting that people try to make an argument that somehow it disproportionately hurts people if you ask them to get an ID, which in many cases, in many states, once you get to a certain age, you have to carry an ID.
The entire thing is designed to keep one party in power and ensure they stay there indefinitely. By taking away the rights of states given by the Constitution to govern their own election, to mandate a wish list. Some of these items include using government dollars to fund campaigns in order to give an advantage to one party, mandating that felons are allowed to vote, including illegal immigrants on voter rolls, and of course, trying to ban states from having voter ID.
Lieutenant Governor, North Carolina, Mark Robinson, happens to be black. I find zero problems with any of that. It's like people say, I can't get a checking account. Why can't you get a checking account? There's got to be a reason, right? There's got to be a reason that you can't get something. What's the reason that you can't do something? What's it's not just because I can't get a free ID. There's got to be more to that than just, well, that's when you get the, 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I love my animals. You guys know this. It's a tough one here. You got influencers everywhere. Can we just say that everybody's an influencer? People are pissed at these influencers because of what they did to their dog, Bowser.
Friday, we had to put Bowser to sleep. Man, it's so awkward saying the words. I feel like I don't even know how to quite say it. And, Dan is with me because Bowser he was our dog, but he was Dan's dog. This was not a decision we came to lightly.
So they put their dog to sleep. They're influencers. Why'd you put the dog to sleep? What happened? First of all, when you're an influencer and you do anything, people are going to be pissed off if they disagree with it, even a skosh. You're going to hear from people.
When Dan and I were first talking about this, one of the things that I said was, I was like, people aren't going to get it. Like, people are going to be upset.
We could have put Bowser down a really, really long time ago, and several times, and I've just been putting the day off.
Yeah. So Nikki Phillips and her husband Dan decided to put their bull terrier down. People were pissed. They're angry. They have 1 million subscribers on their YouTube channel, over 400,000 on their Instagram, and they put the dog down. And for good reason. He's bitey.
He's seriously injured a couple different dogs. Oops, you know, and he doesn't mean it. Once Logan got to the point of being able to run around by himself, you know, he's really grabby too. He grabbed onto Bowser's ear, and, you know, Logan got him so good that there was one incident that happened. Bowser got Logan in the face.
You know what? Can't have that. Now, I don't know if I'd have put the dog down. I would have probably tried to find another home for it. But I tell you what, you get to a point where you have a child like that and the size of this dog was, yeah, no. You can't have that with a kid. Sorry. Kid was, I mean, this is a big dog, right? It's a bull terrier. It's not a tiny dog, can do some damage. And when you have a child, I got no problems with making that kind of call. Like I said, I would have looked to do something different. I told you guys, I got my dog Doodle, or my little one. We thought about putting him to sleep last year. He's bitten Jack a few times, not out of aggression, but out of the fact that his hips were in pain and people touched him. And I said, well, we're going to try this. So we got the rough greens. We started trying this, and it's changed. But on more than 2 or 3 occasions, we were ready to put him down. There was just no way we were going to keep him around. And he's tiny. We had to make this decision when I was like 22, 23. I had a dog named Manchester who was this giant mutt of a dog. It was like part Rottweiler, part Labrador. He was great, but he got to the point where he'd become so... He had this aggression side. And there was just nothing we could do about it. No matter how hard we trained him and did stuff, and we had to make a choice. And he was much older. Much, much older. And he bit one of our friends really bad now in theory, and not in theory, but in fairness to him. She's a larger lady, nutritionally overachieved, and she stood on him, and she didn't know where the crying was come from, and she turned his little paw into a flipper. But he tore, you know, like anybody. But he had gotten to the point where he got aggressive with me. He got aggressive with my grandmother. And at the time, my little sister Bree. So we had to make a decision. And my old vet, who's my youth pastor, he used to say, man, the minute you get to a certain point where you know the dog's going to be aggressive and biting, you have no choice. You need to. But they're bad. They're not bad. I would have, like I said, if he's good without kids, I would have tried to find a place without kids. But then what happens? In this day and age, you go and you give that to somebody, and that dog ends up attacking another dog or something else, and then they're coming to you going, hey, you give us a dog that was... It's a tough call. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Omaha Steaks. Love my Omaha Steaks. Had pork chops over the weekend. Delicious. So Let's Go Grill Package. You got it going on right now. Use keyword Chad. So what they're going to do for you, first and foremost, you're going to get the butcher cut fillets. Delicious. The boneless pork chops, which were amazing. They're gone, by the way. Boneless chicken breast. We're going to have those tomorrow night. Kielbasa sausage. We might have those tonight. Scalloped potatoes gone. Caramel apple tarts gone. I ate them all. That's how I roll. But I've still got some burgers. And the reason's simple. They're going to throw in 12 free 5-ounce Omaha steak burgers. That's a $44 value free. How do you get this amazing Let's Go Grill package? omahasteaks.com. omahasteaks.com. Use the keyword Chad, and you can start saving big. On top of that, you get $20 off your first order. They put this cookbook in there, and the seasoning makes it so easy. It's delicious. I cannot stress to you. I got this package 10 days ago. I have very few things left. I have gone through almost all of it. It is that good. Get yours now. Save big. omahasteaks.com. Keyword Chad. 12 free Omaha Steaks with all of the other things and $20 off your first order. omahasteaks.com. Keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
With COVID numbers rising, IOC chief Thomas Bach is pushing back his trip. He was to meet the torch relay next week, but that's been scrubbed for now. The visit made impossible due to the state of emergency in Tokyo and other parts of the country being extended until the end of the month. The postponement, not a good sign. The Olympics are scheduled to open in just over 10 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know how this is going to look when it comes to the Olympics. I will say this. It is more and more athletes are saying, first of all, some athletes are mad because they've been told, look, you can come, but there's no protesting, right? We want to welcome everybody, but this is the spirit of sport. This is not going to be a platform for you to protest. Secondly, it's a giant cluster blunk. It's the best way to describe it. You spend all of this money. I don't even know what they're at. The real numbers we rarely ever know, 12, 20, 30 billion. By the time all is said and done, they're not going to postpone it again. They're just going to kick it, to the next place. And it's too late now to think about moving it, I think, at this point. I mean, could some place get it done overnight? Could you push it back to August and say we're going to do it in, like, Chicago? It's possible, but highly unlikely. And they have just, it's a mess. It's a mess. It is. And if I'm them, you got to make that decision sooner rather than later. And you guys, some of you liked my idea. Let's just go to Korea. And we'll just move it over to North Korea. Just won't even tell them. We'll just show up. Right? Just show up. Just like, we're here. It's like, what? Yeah, it's going to be fun. You guys have no idea. This is going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I'm thinking, what? Just start joining up and all, because they're always marching, right? There's always a celebration. There's always something. We'll hold it right in Pyongyang. It'll be great. They'll love it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Over the weekend, there was sports in a big way. It was interesting. I watched golf yesterday. Guess what happened? Lots of people. Lots of people there. It was good to see crowds and a gallery following people around and cheering them on. Nobody was really wearing a mask, which I'm sure freaked some people out. Then, Saturday night, though, was the night. That was Canelo fighting. And it was crazy. There was 73,000 people there. 73,000. He took on Joe Saunders, an English bloke who thought he was tough, and then he ran into this Mexican guy who just broke his face. Yeah, Canelo stopped in the 8th round in front of 73,000 fans. It was amazing. That is, by the way, the largest indoor attendance for a boxing event in the United States. The previous mark, 63,350 for Ali Leon Spinks, the rematch. It was huge. It was massive. He hit Saunders so hard, he goes, I knew it. This is what Alvarez said after the fight. I knew it. I broke his cheek. I knew he wasn't coming out of the corner. I told my trainer, he isn't coming out. I broke his cheek. He did more than that. Broke his cheek, broke his eye socket, and thumped him. It was awesome. But seeing all those people, it was cool. It was cool to see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
China says it re-entered near the Maldives, disintegrating in the sky with debris landing in the Indian Ocean. But the U.S. believes it happened over the Arabian Peninsula. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson saying in a statement, it is clear that China is failing to meet responsible standards regarding their space debris.
You think? Over the weekend, people were just like, it was a laugh. What do you think it's going to come down? Because it could come down anywhere. Could have come down anywhere. And it finally came down. Where did it come down? Even China's like BSing on that. But it landed safely without killing anybody. In saying that, they just didn't seem to care.
Hours before this apparent splashdown, near the Maldives, we had no idea where this debris would fall. When you could see how the object was really spinning as it violently shot across the Earth in multiple orbits, 18,000 miles an hour. That's why it was so difficult to actually pinpoint where the final reentry would take place.
Now, here's the reality of this thing. China's still light years behind us when it comes to, for all the things you want to say about the Republicans, the big spending in the military world. The good news is, because of all that big spending, we are light years ahead of them and anybody else. Economically, they're a powerhouse, no doubt. It's a foot race at this point between the two of us. But the reality is, on this side of it, the might, we are much more mighty than they are. But they're just, here's the thing, zero repercussions. They steal intellectual property, zero repercussions. They do stuff like this, and nobody really says anything about it. And they're just playing a game. And in truth, if it would have landed and killed a bunch of people, they would have said, I'm sorry, probably made some sort of large settlement payment, but never apologized out there saying anything because they feel they don't have to. That's not who they are.
There were densely populated areas in the possible impact zone, including at one point New York, other cities in the United States, and then all the way down to Australia and New Zealand. So in the end, even though it did go down in the ocean, which China said they were confident it would, that's only because they were playing a game of the odds. More than 70% of the Earth is ocean, and a lot of the land that this would have passed over is not densely populated. But had things turned out differently, we could be having a very different conversation this morning.
Yeah, what would have happened? Honestly, I look at this and think, what would have taken place? We don't do anything now when we should. Goes back to that thing that we talked about even with Trump. And for all those people out there who, with this coronavirus, if you dare mention that, hey, I think this thing escaped from, a lab, that's the biggest bunch of BS. That's super is it? Go look at it. It's not hard to think that this thing could have gotten out of a lab. But there will be zero repercussions. Even if we found anything, we can point back and say, look at this. There will be zero repercussions because nobody seems to have the cojones to say we've had enough. China and Australia are going at it right now. The Aussies are basically saying, you know what? We're done with you. We're done with you. We are. China said, you guys are wearing thin on us. It's what they do. They have bigger ideas on what they want to do and how they want to dominate. They do. And I want to see what this looks like. I want to see if there's somebody willing to have the cojones enough. Over the weekend, I was talking about this. Somebody said, what would you do? I said, first of all, half of our problem is our addiction to cheap goods. We like cheap stuff. Stock them deep and sell them cheap. Because we can go over there and manufacture. I said, all those companies over there, I would go to them and say, what's the incentive to get you guys to come home? Now, for some of you, it might be virtually impossible because you may not have the manpower / woman power, people power that you need to do certain things. But what would be the absolute incentive? Nothing is off the table. You tell me what you'd want to come home. You tell me. Well, I would want, you to help us build an infrastructure. Done. The taxes, done. What about done? You got to start thinking long game. They're playing for real. And I feel like at times they're not playing as real as we should be. We're not playing as real as we should be. We're kind of tiptoeing around, don't want to offend anybody, because this whole world's about not offending anybody, when we should be at some point in time looking around going, all right, enough's enough. Enough's enough. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. If you guys haven't heard, Medina Spirit won the Kentucky Derby, but
just over a week after crossing the most prized finish line in horse racing, the Kentucky Derby winner is in jeopardy of losing that crown. Medina Spirit, the winning racehorse, tested positive after the race for a steroid, according to the Kentucky Racing Commission.
It was actually a gut punch.
Medina Spirit's trainer, Bob Baffert, is now waiting the results of another test to confirm the accuracy of the initial positive result.
Yeah. So they're going to have another test. It was a pico de gallo? I think it was a pico. It's a picogram. A picogram.
We're talking picograms.
So he
and a picogram is like a grain of salt in an Olympic-sized pool, and that's what we're talking about. So that had no effect, but it's enough to have a red flag.
Yeah, enough to have a red flag. And you heard Bob Baffert say
it was actually a gut punch.
Now the question is, what's going to happen? So the second place horse, if they find this to be true, get to move up? Yes, that would happen. This weekend is the Preakness. What will Medina Spirit do?
Baffert says Medina Spirit is going to actually continue racing in all the races for the Triple Crown while they await test results. Now, if the second test comes back and Medina Spirit is disqualified, then the runner-up would then move up to be the winner.
Yeah. So this will be very interesting to see how this thing takes place and how they break it down. Is it a dirty sample? Was it was one of those things where they didn't handle it properly because it is, like you said, it's a picogram. It's a tiny itty bitty bit. How did it get in there? These are all questions that need to be asked. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more. I really am. Like Lance Armstrong, that kind of bicycle racing. It's nothing but cheaters. It's nothing but cheaters. We've seen it in horse racing for years. We've had horse races die at Santa Anita and Hollywood Park over the last couple of years at high rates of speed. And you would think, of course, they're gonna do stuff. But I cannot remember the last time that I saw a horse or even thought about a horse being disqualified for cheating like this. Like sometimes you get it for the jockey, right? Like they maneuvered in such a way or they did something, they crowded, and but I have never. This would be huge. Yes, they cheat. And the reason is the money's huge. Huge. I mean, the money is for a horse who's a thoroughbred that if he's the winner of this, and if he goes on to win one or two, but even winning this, the amount of money they will make off a horse, not talking about the earnings, talking about the future money, is insane. So anytime you find money and competition, sometimes you'll find people trying to get over on everybody. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Elon Musk was on Saturday Night Live over the weekend. I thought he did a good job.
I'm actually making history tonight as the first person with Asperger's to host SNL. Or at least the first to admit it. So I won't make a lot of eye contact with the cast tonight. But don't worry, I'm pretty good at running human in emulation mode.
Yeah. Thought he did a pretty good job. Said he was, had Asperger's. He flies a little close to that flame. I love the fact that for whatever reason, he made everybody in the cast, a good majority of them, uncomfortable. It's very interesting, though. I thought he did an okay job. And based on the cast they have right now, it's just one of those situations where you couldn't tell which one was the cast and which one was the host. And Elon's hilarious, too, because he's also on Rick and Morty. He plays Elon Tusk on a few occasions, where he's Elon Musk, but he's got giant tusks that stick out. And they'll take him on adventures, and they get mad at him because they say, well, she just got the real Elon, and he has Tuskla instead of Tesla, which I think is hilarious. By the way, if you want to know what it is, stud fees, $200,000 to $300,000 for American Pharoah, the last Triple Crown winner from 2015. And if you think, well, how many can he do? 2,000 to 3,000 breedings a year. You do the math. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Raycon, best earbuds around. Best earbuds around. Have my Raycons on all weekend. Playing some golf, working out, doing some stuff around the house, even editing this morning, and I have my Raycons. I love it because it isolates. The noise isolating fit allows me to sit there and listen quietly to whether I'm listening to music. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I just like the peace and quiet. And having the noise isolating fit, it just blocks everything out. It's awesome. The price is amazing. There's no stems. There's no wires. They start well under $100. Different colors to choose from, and a 45-day happiness guarantee. That's the opportunity for you to grab a hold of. Why wouldn't you? If you have a chance to get the best earbuds. Summer's out. You want to be out working out. You want to be out running around doing stuff. These are the ones for you. 6 hours of talk time. Seamless Bluetooth pairing. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Saves you an extra 15%. They already start well under $100. They got tons of different stuff. Take a look. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
We think they're writing the playbook here to take this across the country.
Katie Hobbs says other secretaries of state are beginning to hear calls for Arizona-like audits.
There's interest in this with my colleagues across the country, obviously, because this is potentially precedent setting. This is really dangerous for our democracy.
Hobbs and other secretaries of state met with U.S. Department of Justice officials yesterday as the DOJ begins looking into whether Arizona's audit is breaking federal law.
Yeah, the audit still goes on. 2.1 million. I don't know how many they're through. We've talked about it. And I don't care. Go ahead and audit it. But you're writing the rules. You haven't followed the rules that even you agreed to, and some of which you set up. You've already got Michigan and I think Georgia next that you're going to come in and try to do. You looked for bamboo in the papers. Right? You couldn't find any of that. Then there was the newest one, guys, was spectacular. We got this sent to us the other day. And somebody who's familiar with the situation, somebody who's fed us some decent stuff locally here, inside of there, talking about it. And sure enough, the next day or two. But the new one was they want to go to some of the places where the polls were open and look to see if there wasn't any trapdoors. I want you guys to hear that. If there wasn't any trap doors, that there was actually trap doors, right? That then the machines would go down. They would see through something, some sort of special magic wand, see the Trump votes, take those out, replace them, and then get the machine back up. Then shred. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, did you hear yourself? Like that cannot be, you cannot be normal at that point in time. You've lost the plot if you think that right there. You're not talking about, we're talking about digging tunnels underneath buildings and nobody noticing. You're going to get people who had it at the library. They're going to get there. People had it at the elementary, high school, and junior high schools. You're going to that everybody saw these things happening and nobody said a thing. Nobody. My goodness me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Mitch McConnell's talking about work. What about work? Why aren't people working?
We've been so generous with our plus-ups to unemployment insurance and the checks that we've been sending everybody that a great many Kentuckians and Americans look at the situation and find they're better off financially to stay home rather than go back to work. So we have inflationary issues and we have difficulty in getting people to do the work to meet the new demand.
Some of that's true. Some of that is absolutely true. Other people say no.
The Commerce Secretary rejected some Republicans' contention that people are reluctant to return to work because they are receiving unemployment insurance.
The number one reason now that people aren't going back to work, fear, or they can't find child care or schools are still closed. So we'll monitor it as necessary, but right now we don't think that's the reason people aren't able to go back to work.
You're nuts if you think that's the only reason. Are there people out there that are scared to go back to work? I think, yeah, there's definitely some of that. Child care an issue for some? Yeah, I think so. But for a lot of people, they're not hurting, so no need to rush. And for some, they're just enjoying it. It can be a bit of all. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That's your Twitter, your Instagram, Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
If you're in a independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
And I wrote in the Wall Street Journal that it's time for mask mandates to go across the country and that the president should be saying that because basically you're actually being punitive to people who have had the vaccine and may not actually need masks. Now, you look at Utah, less than 350 new COVID cases yesterday and 0 deaths, an unbelievable drop in cases. So what are they talking about mandating that children wear masks in schools still when children are not getting sick from this usually?
That right there is a doctor, Dr. Mark Siegel, New York University. He's probably not a good doctor now, according to people on the left, because he wrote something that made people uncomfortable, and he's appeared on Fox, so he's got to be evil. But you have to ask some questions about some of this insanity, right? Like the last week, the whole, hey, here are the guidelines to summer camp for kids. Basically, wrap them in plastic, make sure they have their mask 24/7, and if they're all vaccinated, the adults, you guys all double wear your mask. Kids can't take off their mask anytime, except for things like tennis, right? So if I'm playing tennis, and you're on the other side of the court, I can take off my mask, and you can take off my mask. If we're doing other sports, you can't take off your mask. This kind of stuff, it's stupid, and you know, Fauci, it's a little conservative. It's insane, is what it is. That's not summer camp. That's punishment, is what that is. It's time to get back to living life, which is going to help us in many ways, including the economy. But personal responsibility has been taken away. Well, people can't be responsible. It's your responsibility to be personally responsible for yourself, not for what other people do. That's the whole thought process. We're a year and a half into this. We kind of get it, and if you want to get the vaccine, you've had the opportunity to get it, and if you don't, well, then you don't. But if you've got the vaccine, don't you think it's time?
I think that we're at a time when we're back to personal choice and personal responsibility, and you want to feel that we're moving in the direction of we're heading towards the end of the pandemic, which I think we are. The numbers are dropping. So if we use a restrictive, punitive approach, that's going to turn people off, and people might say, I'm not going to follow this guy. I'm not going to listen to him. Because, by the way, he wears a mask in one place and then in another place doesn't. So I think you need a consistency, and we need a sense of liberation.
Sense of whatever and liberation and whatever. And speaking of what he's talking about with this guy, no, we need a sense of, yes, you know what, let's, if you have the vaccine, you can feel better about things, right? That's fine. But aren't we kind of just at the point of stupidity? I mean, this weekend I forgot. I went into a store that didn't have mask regulations, and I didn't have my mask on me. I left it in the car. It was in my golf bag, and I'm like, I'm not going back. It doesn't seem to have any mask stuff. I've seen, somebody going without a mask, and I walked in there, and it was weird. Like, the people give you this look, like, ugh. And I'm like, okay, chances are if you're wearing a mask, and you probably have already had the vaccine. So what are you worried about? I'm just curious. You shouldn't be worried about anything. I've had the vaccine. You don't know that. And I'm not going to wear anything that says I've had the vaccine. I'm telling you on my radio show. It's just time to allow this to go on, because there's going to be squabbles, and we have seen it. People get mad at each other. Even though you don't have to wear a mask in some places, people still get mad that you're not doing what the government tells you to do, which they think you should do just because, which is BS.
And Mr. President, do you... On CDC mask mandates, you walked out to the podium with your mask on. Why do you choose to wear a mask so often when you're vaccinated and you're around other people who are vaccinated?
Because I'm worried about you. That's a joke. Why am I wearing the mask? Because when we're inside, it's still good policy to wear the mask. That's why. When I'm outside, and the problem is, lots of times I walk away from this podium, you notice I forget to put my mask back on because I'm used to not wearing it outside.
Because you shouldn't have to wear it outside. It's dumb. It's stupid. You shouldn't have to look to our government to find out, is this okay if we do this? Is this okay if we do that? It's ridiculous. It is. It is so ridiculous. I think we've had enough. And the whole thought process, and this is the COVID czar, Jeffrey Zients. Listen to him, like, allowing.
By being overly cautious, the signal is going out to the public that there isn't necessarily a light at the end of the tunnel. Do you understand why people are...
I think everyone is tired, and wearing a mask can be a pain. But we're getting there, and the light at the end of the tunnel is brighter and brighter. Let's keep up our guard. Let's follow the CDC guidance. And the CDC guidance across time will allow vaccinated people more and more privileges to take off that mask.
Oh, they'll allow that? That's nice. This is Dr. Gottlieb, Scott Gottlieb, straight shooter. He didn't pick a side. He's just honest about this stuff, right? It's not political for him. It's just the reality of this is how we should be living our life.
Maybe changing those mandates for indoor masks. You think they should be lifted, do you?
Well, look, COVID won't disappear. We're going to have to learn to live with it. But the risk is substantially reduced as a result of vaccination, as a result of immunity that people have acquired through prior infection. And so I think we're at the point in time when we can start lifting these ordinances in a wholesale fashion. And people have to take precautions based on their individual risk. They have to judge their own individual risk and decide whether or not they're going to avoid crowds or wear masks based on their circumstances.
Yeah, but that's what you would do anyways, based on your circumstances. There's nothing wrong with that. Based on your circumstances, you should what? Be cautious when? When you feel the need to be cautious. If you're walking with your family somewhere in the middle of the park, you shouldn't have to wear a damn mask. If you've been vaccinated, you got nothing to worry about, and you're out with your friends and nobody's wearing a mask, this should be fine too. That's part of the personal responsibility. So much of it is we forget. We want everybody to take personal responsibility for what may happen to us based on somebody else's thing. No, at the end of the day, it's about you being personally responsible for you. That's it. And we should have that. We should. Normal activities, some of this stuff is just, the insanity. Like, if you go back and look, like, some places still aren't even open up for indoor dining or even outdoor dining, still takeaway in some areas. What are you worried about? Just curious. Well, it could flare up again. If we're going to live our lives in it's going to be a long time before stuff gets back to any kind of normal way of life. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Jobs, they're out there. Do people want them? It's very interesting when you hear about the job world, because I'm reading so much about the incentives. Like, how do you get people to go back to work? Shouldn't working be the incentive to go back to work, getting a paycheck that comes from the fact that you're working and not the fact that government's giving it to you?
Would it be good if we were to pay people a bonus to go back to work once they're fully vaccinated? Sure. Why not? Why not change the incentive structure?
Are you listening to that? Should we pay people to go back to work, who are going back to work, a bonus if you got fully vaccinated? I mean, it's, and here's the other side of this. There's a lot of people out there who do not want to go back to work. They want to continue working. They just like the way they have it now. They want to continue working, but they just don't really want to do it back in the office full time. Maybe they'll show up once in a while, right? Maybe they'll cruise on in a couple days a week, meet with some people, stuff like that. But they're not quite feeling the need to get themselves back to work full time at the office. Diane Swank, more from her.
More than once over the course of this pandemic is that the road to recovery is littered with potholes, and we just hit one.
Yep, American economic advisor and chief economist at Grant Thornton. I don't think we should be paying people, incentivizing them to go back to work. If you can work, you should be wanting to work. Am I wrong? Is that a bad thing? Is that stupid? I don't think it is. And now, if your employer wants you to get vaccinated and they want to incentivize you that way, that's fine. But the thought process of trying to get people at some point in time, like, what can we do to get people to go back to work? Isn't a job enough? Here's something. Take away the free money you're giving them and find out what happens at that point. What do you bet? They'll go, you know what? I got to make a decision. I'm going to make this decision now. I'm going to go back to work. That's what I'm going to do. People don't feel they have to do that right now. It's understandable. Like I said, if I'm 22 years old and you're giving me free money and maybe you got a little side hustle and I don't have to worry about paying my bills, why would I? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. MyPillow. MyPillow. What's MyPillow do? Well, MyPillow does some amazing things. We talked about first of all, the pillow itself, the mattress toppers, the sheets, and of course, these lovely slippers, moccasin style, and they've got the slip-on style, which are awesome. They also do towels. Towels are amazing. Normally they're $109. You get, you get these sets and there's 6 in there. You got these big giant towels. It's great hand towels, the washcloths, and they're incredible. Right now they're $44.98. That's it. $44.98. It's like $45. 60-day money back guarantee. Super absorbent, no lotiony feel. Absolutely incredible. You will love, love, love these things. And now's your chance to get them. And any of the other amazing deals they have at MyPillow. It's simple and easy. You go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. You're going to save right there and get these huge, huge discounts. MyPillow.com. Promo code is Benson. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Take advantage of these 6-day money back guarantee. Super massive savings across all of the MyPillow products. Take advantage now. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
No need to socially distance while listening to your Chad Benson Show podcast. 4 out of 5 experts say so.
I'm a scientist. There is no corona.
But hurry before they change their mind. You know they will. Chad's podcast found on iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite COVID-free podcasts.
Oh my gosh. I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
In French, the letter E at the end of a word is what indicates it's considered feminine. For instance, la France or la belle. But in order to make French more inclusive, some are now pushing to add the letter E to words that wouldn't normally have it. The French government now banning that practice in schools, arguing the well-being of France and its future are at stake. Proponents of the practice say it's a way to make women more visible in the language. Both Italy and Germany are also debating how to make language more gender inclusive.
Like Latinx? That to me always makes me, huh? What? It's Latinx. It's silly. We have a good portion of our on-air news staff at the station I work at locally. They're younger and they're Latin. They're from Mexico. One's from Honduras. They're from all over the place, and they always say that is the dumbest thing. I never do that. I never use that. Well, somebody thought it was a good idea. And I love France has come out and been very vocal about this wokeness and political correctness to the point of the craziness. They've come out and said, like, California wokeness is destroying a lot of stuff. They will not allow that here. Even with the progressives that run the country are like, this is absurd. This is absurd. Welcome to the world that we live in now. This is what people, I guess, are pushing for, which I find to be bizarre. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Yesterday was Mother's Day. It was. You know that, right?
I hope that next Mother's Day we're going to see a dramatic difference than what we're seeing right now. I believe that we will be about as close to back to normal as we can.
About as close to back to normal we can. Thanks, Fauci. It's always next something or other. It's always next. Next one will be this. Next one will be that. At the next one, don't you worry. Not this one, but the next one.
Ballpark in 2 to 5 to 20 years, we can start thinking about considering the idea of pondering the thought of conceptualizing the possibility of maybe, perhaps reopening, but probably not. I would avoid having any fun whatsoever in the near to far future.
I agree, 112%. Totally. The guy's funny. Tyler Fisher. Mine's pretty good, too. Just want to let you guys know that. He's not done. And this is, some of it's, like you joke, he just, if you would have played the first one, next Mother's Day, maybe, perhaps, be close to back to normal, but we're not sure. It's a possibility, but probably not. I wouldn't eat indoors with your mom or outdoors. I wouldn't even have a mom, but it's, it's conservative.
I'd say even if you live alone, I would wear a mask in the house, especially in the shower, because frankly, droplets can make their way through the drain and come up through somebody else's toilet, infecting them with COVID.
That's not very nice. No, but it's kind of true. It is. Just letting you guys know. It does feel a little bit wacky, but that's what you've got. We've got this wackiness, this weirdness from the CDC. Case in point, the cruise industry.
If everybody inside that venue, in this case a ship, is vaccinated, there is no need for a mask. Yet the CDC came out with one of their bizarre requirements. While you are eating at a restaurant or drinking a beverage at a bar, you must take your mask on and off to put food in your mouth, then put your mask back on while you're chewing and swallowing. Is that not the craziest, most bizarre thing you ever heard?
Frank Del Rio, Norwegian Cruise Line CEO. Yeah, it is. It's insane. Who are you protecting? On and off?
Especially when everybody on the ship is vaccinated. If it was mixed company, maybe, but 100% vaccination, incredibly stupid, for lack of a better term, just stupid requirements that the CDC is throwing our way. There is no good reason to prevent us from cruising. Every other transportation venue, entertainment venue, hospitality venue is open around the country, and we're still shut down after 15 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Because of the things, what happens, and that people could get sick, and then you'd be out there, and then the thing with if you're vaccinated, let people on the boat, right? It's already spread, so what are you worried? Nobody's going to, we're not going to let you guys dock? Because that's what happened originally. Remember that? Nobody wanted to let them in the port. But some of this stuff is absurd. I can't wait for tomorrow. Who knows what other absurd stuff will happen. We didn't get to a lot today. We got a lot to still get to. We'll grab on it tomorrow and all the other good stuff. Follow along throughout the day. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, your Instagram. You can text me directly, 323-538-2423. 323-538-2423. Have a great rest of your Monday. We got you through today. We always knew we would. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.